how to make Missouri a more equitable state, and is your campaign staff diverse, and will your state office be diverse?
I'm going to answer those in reverse. Yes, yes. Actually, no, I need to talk about this a little bit longer because the legal profession, unfortunately, we both know this, well, maybe is not very diverse. And at the Attorney General's office, when I was there, I was in charge of recruiting for interns and a whole bunch of other folks. And I voiced my opinion pretty clearly that we did not do a very good job with that in hiring. And we need to change that quite a bit. And I think that means we have folks in those roles who have those experiences. And so I think a diverse Attorney General's office is extremely important, especially for all of the issues the Attorney General does deal with. So yes, same with our campaign. I think we need to have folks with diverse backgrounds, and they'll tell you they disagree with me all the freaking time, and that's how we live. So we've got folks all over the state doing that. So yeah, I think that that's extremely important. I think that with a lot of the issues we've been talking about in terms of education, civil rights, and all these other issues, we can do that throughout the entire state. So I hope I'm not missing an element of that question.
No, you got it.
Okay, good. All right, thanks.
All right, well, yes, I mean, my commitment to diversity is paramount to me. I think it's incredibly important throughout the Attorney General's office, throughout the campaign, throughout everything else, that we're including diverse voices and perspectives, because if we are just listening to the people that look like us, then we're not getting full perspective on what we need to do. So I haven't been at this quite as long as a lot have, so I'm a month in, so I only have one staffer. She's a young woman, but I will, as I continue to grow out, have a lot more diversity in my campaign, because it's important to me that I have that diverse set of voices around me to help me have the best understanding of possible how I can be successful in the campaign and the Attorney General's office. Right now, I'm with Brian Cave, it's the law firm that Hank mentioned earlier. It's one of the largest law firms in St. Louis. I'm very proud to say that I've been driving to help move more diverse candidates into our hiring in that firm. We just recently, about a month ago, brought on a partner into that office in my group, which I helped recruit, who is an African-American, former executive assistant of the U.S. Attorney's Office, and he's now joined the firm to help improve our diversity there. So it's been a priority everywhere I've been. It'll be a priority to me when I become Attorney General.
So yes, I have one staff person so far. She's here today as well. Diversity is one of those things that, you know, when you're a woman and you serve the Missouri legislature, diversity is not a word that you come into contact every day in Jefferson City. I mean, I can tell you when I was first elected, I was sitting at my desk and I had someone come in the office and say, "Oh, let me know when your state rep gets back, I need to talk to him." And I was like, "Now what's your name? I need to write your name down and remember who you are." So having dealt with those kinds of issues, or being told that I couldn't sit at my own desk on the floor, because sweetheart, those are the desks for those state reps. Yeah, I know exactly what that feels like. It's something we as women legislators, I know the senator knows this as well, deal with in Jefferson City every day. So it's not something I think about extra. It's something that's just part of my everyday life. So it's definitely on the top of my mind without me actually thinking about it, because you just experience it every day. And so it takes more importance to you when you experience that, for sure.
Well, diversity is obviously very important to me. Pretty much every room I've been in and every institution I've been in, it's not just something I'm thinking about, it's something that's thinking about me. But it's not just diversity, it's also inclusion and it's also equity. Because if you have diversity but you don't have inclusion or equity, it doesn't matter. So, how do we create diversity in this state? It's not that hard, it's just a will to do it. So first you've got to create diversity in education, you've got to equity in education, you've got to create equity in economics, you've got to create equity in healthcare. In economics, it's about protecting unions. And so when you think about our minimum wage that was beat back by a ballot initiative, that was increased by the ballot initiative, that was great for our state. You think about the minimum wage and the right to work that was beat back by ballot initiative. So those things are great, but we can do more things to create equity in economics. When you think about education and create equity in education, it's about ensuring that it's not just certain school districts that have the resources they need. It's about ensuring that all school districts have the resources they need, no matter what the property taxes are of that neighborhood. So it's about ensuring that kids in North City, in North County, in the rural parts of the state that are going to 4 days a week have the resources they need. It's about how do we distribute the resources of the people of this state. And when you think about equity in healthcare, it's about ensuring that there's not a 20-year life expectancy between zip codes adjoining in this region. So it's about the will to do it. It can be done. We have the roadmaps to do it. We need to elect the leaders who will get it done.
So these two questions are for the Attorney General candidate. Rich, this one is for you. I think somebody might have missed your opening statement. This says, what prompted you to enter the race for Attorney General at this time? And then a broader question for the two of you. What community program have you been involved in? Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I think I won't reiterate it too much, but to me, what drove me to this race was the recognition that we have an Attorney General in Eric Schmidt who was more interested in helping his political friends than he was interested in protecting the people of Missouri. And that is down the line, starting with health care, going all the way through women's health. And so I felt that it was my responsibility to take what I know and my ability as a federal prosecutor and bring that to the Attorney General's office so that we can actually have someone who protects everybody equally and not just the people who are their political friends. And that's really important to me. As far as community involvement, I mean, I've been in St. Louis for a long time. I've done a lot of different things to try to stay involved in the life of the community. As a federal prosecutor, I was involved in various different initiatives in that office to reach out, especially to minority communities, to try to make sure that we were helping to protect them as well as every other community in the state. And then I also, on the side of doing my regular lawyering job, I volunteer much of my time at my old law school at WashU to help train the next generation of lawyers so that they can be ones to help to protect the rights of individuals like yourselves in this room when people like Eric Schmidt go and try to take them away. So that's just a small sample of the things I've done in my life to try to make sure that I am working and putting my talents to help other people who are maybe not maybe you're going through a struggle at that time. So.
He's good at teaching. I volunteered sometimes and he had to do it too. It's great. So I guess in terms of community involvement, I run the Education Exchange Corps, which is a program I started at Lexington Elementary, not far from here. I've been working with the St. Louis City School District for about 11 years, and I've been teaching for a while. My youth allows me to blend in a little bit. It's very helpful for me. But yeah, I've been teaching for a good long time. I'm also on the boards for a whole bunch of stuff in St. Louis. First Financial Federal Credit Union, shout out to them. I'm on the board for their Community Development Board. I'm on the board for Clay Elementary. I'm on a number of different boards for citizenship education for kids. But a lot of my public service started in education with children, especially, just a couple blocks away from here. And I've been doing that while I was at the Attorney General's office, and I would get a lot of folks in the legal community involved in that too. And then obviously I've been in public service as an attorney my entire career, and that includes suing the city for the workhouse. So I've been very involved in a bunch of legal lawsuits like that as well. Yeah.
Now this question is for Yinka. So you have 3 questions, and anybody else can weigh in on them if you like. You got any other candidates that you listen, and you can also weigh in on them. This is, I think we talked about this a little. It's about how important is it to expand the electorate through voter registration and engagement in 2020, and what can we do to educate voters about their rights? Hang on, and about no excuse absentee voting and automatic voter registration. Can you remember all of this? And combating voter suppression, and how will the ballot measures passed in 2008 affect turnout in 2020? We'll let everybody answer that. But basically, yours is about voter suppression, voter registration, and all of that.
So there's an act called the National Voter Rights Act, and it's often called the Motor Voter Act. And just this week, there was a decision by a federal judge that basically made Missouri enforce this. So basically, if you go to get your driver's license renewed, or if it's expired, and you go in the driver's license office, they're supposed to allow you to register to vote at the same time. Or if you have a disability, you go to an office that services, that works with you with your disability, it's the same thing. But that's not been happening in this state. That's not been happening with our current Secretary of State. So that ruling just this past week is aimed at enforcing that. So we know voting is important in this country. It's so important that in 1965, this country passed the Voting Rights Act. It was passed under President Lyndon Johnson in August 5th, 1965. And so there are federal laws, there are state laws, there are federal rulings by judges that are designed to enforce the voting rights laws. But if you do not have a Secretary of State that is enforcing them, it doesn't matter. And that's what's been happening in this state. So it's extremely important. We saw what happened in Georgia with Stacey Abrams, where that Secretary of State didn't win the election in 2018. That Secretary of State won the election in 2010, 2011, 2012, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, when he had been dropping people off the voter rolls. So it is not an exaggeration to say that everything we care about is tied to this office. Whether it's healthcare, good jobs, climate change, education, if you can't vote for it, it doesn't matter. And so we've got to ensure that we have a new Secretary of State that can enforce the voting laws we have in the books. There are ballot initiatives. There's one called Vote 2020 that's trying to get on the ballot for next year to bring new ideas like early voting, no excuse absentee voting, voting by mail, things that we ought to be doing in the 21st century. And so we want to support those kinds of ballot initiatives with signatures so they can get on the ballot and that we can get them passed.